spaceships from Mars? No, they're Frisbees. Watch it soar. It flies way around like a bird. You can even run for a pass. You can play all kinds of games. Isn't it amazing? Frisbee Flying Saucer. Yours at toy, drug, and department stores. What are they, spaceships from Mars? No, they're Frisbees. Watch it soar. It flies way around like a bird. You can even run for a pass. You can play all kinds of games. Isn't it amazing? Frisbee Flying Saucer. Yours at toy, drug, and department stores.
Good morning, Ultimate Frisbee fans. I am Charlie Lowe. With me is Ariel Dog Choi. Excited to bring you this cast of the Premier Ultimate League. Big matchup, division rivalry between the Indianapolis Red and the Milwaukee Monarchs. Monarchs playing the first side of a doubleheader today. They will travel to Columbus later this evening to play the Pride. How you doing today, Dog?
I'm doing pretty good. Excited to be here.
For those of you who may not be familiar, Dog is one of the practice players with the Indy Red. This is her first time on the sticks, as it were. Excited to have you here.
Yeah, excited. I'll do my best here to keep things exciting and do my best to keep my screams of excitement down.
One of the exciting things about having a practice player means that we're going to get those good insights that you crave. As fans of the Indy Red, she can give us the tea, she can give us the scoop, she can analyze things that I have never even seen before. Excited to enjoy this new partnership today. Both of these teams are on the wrong side of a winning record.
Yeah, had some tough games in the beginning of the season.
Absolutely. Monarchs caught a tough game from the New York Gridlock. The Red, coming off of losses from the DC Shadow and the Minnesota Strike, turned it around last week in a game against the Atlanta Soul. Big 5-goal win. Looking to see if the Monarchs can get a W today, and then obviously for our home team, the Red, trying to get back to 500. Currently rated as the unofficial second best team in the division. I think that they're out to prove the haters wrong.
Oh, absolutely. And being home, gives that extra boost of wanting to get really secure that W here. Monarchs also have kind of a rough schedule today. Try to lay it out on the field here, go for another car drive, and have that second game tonight.
Yeah, we can get that sort of 800-pound gorilla on the field out of the way early. The Milwaukee Monarchs playing a doubleheader. While Ultimate Frisbee players are no strangers to playing multiple games in a day, this is perhaps the worst of it that we have seen due to scheduling conflicts, availability of resources for all of the teams playing today. The Monarchs are going to be playing this game. Afterwards, dealing with all of the emotions, whether victory, whether loss, hopping in the car, cooling down and tightening up, driving 3 hours to Columbus, Ohio, where they have to get re-warm and play a game against a tough, just to be plain about it, a tough Columbus Pride team.
Yeah. Definitely never ideal to have to wait in between games, but to have to sit in a car and cool down, like you said, that's especially difficult tonight.
And with the strain that is placed on players due to the format of how the professional leagues work, this isn't your standard game to 15 where you can play 27 players up and 27 down. Rosters are capped at 20. Those 20 players are playing a hard 40 minutes of Frisbee, and at the end of that, legs being burnt out as they will, especially for some of your top-end players who may see the field some more, there's got to be, I will knock all of the wood in the world. Let's hope that we avoid injuries today and that everyone finishes the day healthy, above all.
Yes, of course.
Outside of that, now that we're through it, what are you looking forward to in this matchup today?
Oh, man. I think as everybody from the Great Lakes and Midwest area is familiar, everybody here has probably seen each other on the field, whether they were teammates or rivals. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see people really match up on people that they already know. So I'm really excited for, some of these Chicago, Indiana, Madison, all these people matching up against each other, because I think they really do have a good idea of their playing styles from each other.
I could not agree more. We have, there are several intra-club team rivalries here, and even sort of players that are shared between communities for what that provides. Caitlin Duffner and Eileen Duffner, sisters playing for Chicago Nemesis, alongside Jacqueline Jarek and Cassie Brown. Current or former teammates Katie Dyer-Cox and Risa Umeno are present with us here. Alex Hu present with us here on the on the Indy Red. Those are players that are all going to be very familiar with each other. Seeing how they get to match up. Additionally, Charlotte Pyre, affectionately referred to as Char, playing for the Milwaukee Monarchs, a big presence on the local to Milwaukee team, Medusa, is from Indianapolis. This is her home community, so this is as much a home game for her as it is an away game.
Yeah. It's just going to have all the inside information on the team and probably sees them all at the league and community events here.
Our usual counterpart here in the booth, Rochelle Frash, who is the sort of social media guru for all teams Indianapolis, spotted in the crowd wearing a Charlotte Pyre jersey. So a little bit of a backstabbing going on, you might say. So tell us about the Red. What kind of things do you think we're going to see from that team today?
Yeah, I think we're going to be really focused on stretching the field here and cherishing the disc. The weather here is beautiful. There is not really much wind. And, it's very humid out, but I think that disc is going to be flying really well. So I think they're just going to be focused on, catches, throws, making sure that they make the smart decisions.
I could not agree more with that. Jackie Lai, Blake Vanderbush, and Samantha Pukis have put this team together to employ a nice balance of high disc skills in the backfield, capable of swinging the disc around, waiting for an open shot, but when it comes time to it, you've got power throwers like Lauren Kitten that have the green light, as we saw last week, to air that disc out early and often.
Absolutely. Doesn't hurt that, we've got some nice lefty throwers here, because for some reason that seems to be a cheat code in Ultimate.
We want to take a moment here to let you know that this game is brought to you by the Discraft Ultrastar, which is the official disc of the Premier Ultimate League. Discraft, the world leader in disc sports. We also wanted to shout out a couple of our sponsors today. First, we have Somerset Paving out of Michigan. Somerset Paving is Detroit's expert in asphalt and concrete paving. Somerset Paving, take the right way to quality. We'd also like to thank MDMI from Indianapolis. Thank you to one of our local partners. MDMI Materials Data Management has the experience and drive necessary to help your organization deploy the best in engineering materials information management solutions. Check us out on LinkedIn for current job openings and our website, materialsdatamanagement.com, for a list of our services and software. Data importers, exporters, and consulting too. MDMI is here for you.
We'd also like to shout out Everyone's Joy Photography out of Fort Wayne. Everyone's Joy Photography, you Indie Sports Team photographer and Indie Red's official photography company. Doesn't matter if you need sports or fashion, we got you covered at any event. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, or online at everyone'sjoyphotography.com. We'd also like to thank Breakmark. Breakmark is the official apparel sponsor of Indie Red. Go to breakmark.com for official jersey replicas and team merchandise.
All right. So, we've talked a little bit about the Indie Red. I got a chance to talk with Caitlin Murphy today and DJ Wong, who are the coaches for the Milwaukee Monarchs. And the first thing out of Caitlin Murphy's mouth to me today was they're focusing on the controllables. The things that they can do are show up, play hard, play intense defense, make good throws. The humidity is not bothering them. The doubleheader is not bothering them because those things are out of their hands. They're excited to play some good, clean ultimate, and I think that is a very good coach's answer.
For sure.
Having a little bit of coaching experience myself, that is a phenomenal coaching answer. It's, take the things out of the players' heads, take the things out of the players' hands and say, hey, focus on you and the other 6 on the line.
Absolutely. That mental state matters so much, especially for a long day. And in any game, just really believing in anything you can control and everything that you can do, what you've been practicing the whole season for.
100%. We are getting 7 on the line for each of these teams. Looking down at the red sideline, looks like we're going to be starting with a deep point. I see Haley Bannis, Sydney Oland, Kelly Kirker, Linnea Fraser, Emily Wyckoff, Risa Umeno, and Bolte Baxter out there. Over on the other side in light jerseys for the Milwaukee Monarchs, I see Rufus Duffner, Duffy Duffner. I see Cassie Brown, so our Nemesis contingent out there. Also on the line, number 19, Emily Cohen, and then a few other players. I see Austin Pruka, know her from the Teal Tights.
Looks like Rose Glinka's also on the line.
Rose Glinka, another big name. And here we go. The pull is up. Sails downfield, landed about 15 yards outside of the end zone. Centered to Duffy, and we're in it.
Risa with the big mark here. The turnover.
Quick turnover. So the Red are going to now have an opportunity for an early break chance as Risa picks up. Swing over to Sydney Oland. She's got Bannis for yards. Looks her off. Takes it. Losing a couple there from the original 7. Into the middle of the field to Kelly Kirker. Over to Emily Wyckoff. Nice inside lane to Bolte Baxter. Doesn't like the first look, but hits Risa on the far side of the field. Swung over to Sydney Oland, continues over to Haley Bannis. Kelly Kirker back in the middle of the field, and the Red maybe start looking to move into an end zone set. A little crowded in the lane right there. Evaluating her options. Big inside throw, just a little bit too far for any of the other players. So maybe a couple early yips from these teams as some of these throws go a little far.
Feel each other out here.
How quickly are the Red, going to move into these end zone sets? Where is the line that they like to explore?
Yeah, about 15 to 20 yards out there, you'll probably start seeing them go into that end zone set and really start working there. Probably focus on the handlers here. Big throw from Cassie Brown.
Wow, perfect throw. Plenty of time to get run down by Annie Shriver. Evaluates the options. Looking upfield, stall count rising, puts up a nice OI flick hook. Sails perfectly for her receiver, and that is an early hold for the Milwaukee Monarchs. Able to put that disc into the end zone.
Great find there.
So Red have to be disappointed that they missed out on the break opportunity. However, Milwaukee do what they needed to do as we see this play develop. Evaluates the options, doesn't like what she's getting. Shriver puts that disc up to 19. Emily Cohen, with no one around her, able to secure. Already it's 1 point in, so don't hold me to this for the entirety of the game. I really like the shape and the flight on these throws from the Monarchs.
Agreed. The weather's really contributing to this. They can really show off some throws here today, and I think we're going to have a good show with some good deep shots and some flashy throws.
Cassie Brown is known to air it out. Last season with Chicago Nemesis, got to enjoy playing with running mate Penny Wu, who currently plays in the WUL. Both known to take huge deep shots, and excited to see them early from Cassie. So, the nice part of that is that was just an 0 point for the Monarchs.
Right.
The Red don't have any extra pressure on it other than being down 1-0. No break went off. Let's see how they start their O counterattack. Lauren Kitten into the middle of the field to Makeda Matamore. Over to Hutchings, back to Kitten.
Looking for it.
Airs it out. Huge backhand hook.
Caught by
to Skittles Milton.
Dyer for the score.
And that's just good, clean family fun. Lauren Kitten doing exactly what she was put on this roster to do, air that disc out, filling the role of Tracy Tilo Lowe, not able to be with us today. Both filling that sort of power thrower position and already paying dividends.
We're tied up at 1-1.
As we see that throw go up, perfect shape, sails over the heads of the defenders. Skittles reels it in, puts it up a little high. Katie Dyer-Cox, one of the most athletic players in the league, despite not having been a huge presence in the PUL for the season.
Yeah, great ad for Indy Red and Cox. I think we're going to be expecting to see these kinds of plays from both teams. So if they can stop these hucks from happening, it'll be huge for both teams.
I could not agree more. It'll either be who stops the other team's deep looks first, or whose shots stop falling.
Yeah.
Disc sails down, caught by the Monarchs, centered to Duffy, evaluates the options. Over to Annie Shriver.
Mary Timmons close behind.
Lots of pressure there. Austin Pruka, nice shape on that throw up to Emily Cohen.
Oh, great. Great hand block by Bolte, but it looks like there is a call.
Yeah, we see the foul call go up. The whiff diff recognized hand signals as Bolte Baxter has a conversation with Emily Cohen about what the resolution is going to be here. And it looks like the disc is going back. No contest from Bolte Baxter, though she looks a little resigned about the conversation.
Coming around.
Big round goes off. Foster snatches it. Cookie straight out of the cookie jar for Anastasia Foster. And the Red begin their counterattack. Risa with a big fake. Doesn't like it to Banis. Swings over instead. Yes. Having Foster back is going to be a huge difference for this Red team. Wasn't able to make the trip last week. They're really excited to employ her on defense again. A monstrous athlete. Disc goes over to Umeno. Finds Foster in the middle of the field. Signature one-handed grab. A lot of those going on for the Red on this counterattack. Banis evaluates the options. Hits Umeno up line. Back to Banis. They're just playing catch at this point.
And there goes Foster. Looks it off.
Swing is back to Umeno, over to Banis. Fumbles the disc, not quite ready for that where it came in, and the Monarchs with the counterattack.
Cassie here with that big throw.
Emily Cohen able to secure it despite two Red defenders encroaching in the area. Doesn't like the swing over to Pruka. Puts it to Duffy, who's just a little bit low on the grab attempt. Disc back in the Reds' hands. Emily Garnier in the backfield with Umeno and Banis. Disc is over to her.
Emily Garnier also missing from last week's game, making a huge impact here today.
Absolutely. This Red team is very built on depth and has a very big next person up mentality. Banis able to run the up line down, secure the high grab into Mary Timmons for another goal for the Indianapolis Red, and most importantly, a break.
Yes,
gives a
an
2-1
early
lead.
It's
break.
now Indy Red 2,
Mary
Milwaukee
Timmons
1.
comes to us from Cincinnati Steamboat. Several members of our Indianapolis community joined her on a crusade with Cincinnati Steamboat last year, including a couple of us in the booth with us, Derek Rothfusen and Kyle
That was
Brunn.
Haley Banis
As
and
we
Mary
see
Timmons.
on the replay, Risa upline to Haley Banis, evaluates, and then hits Mary, who's just dusting her defender to the sideline. Easy goal. Sort of a speed demon, Mary Timmons.
Yes, absolutely. Do not like being on her at all, whether at practice or in a game.
Don't forget you can buy shout-outs to be ready
So as
to
we were
wear.
getting into earlier,
The
this
first
Red team
one is
very,
Smile
very
from
built on
Cassie. The
if
message
someone's not
is
here, we're
Barracuda
fine.
with 2 exclamation
It's not a
points.
debilitating loss. If we're, not having Tilo is a thing that would, kill some teams. It would entirely reshape the way that they played offense. The Red are able to just say, cool, we're going to play Lauren, who comes in, does exactly the same things with the same hand, I might add, and you see no, shift in how you have to approach offense. Middle of the field, Rachel Hildebrand, over.
A big
Disc
put here.
Disc aired out to Grace Zucchero. Too far, unfortunately, for the Monarchs, as the Red are going to retake the disc, going from left to right on their own goal line. So the first deep shot has not fallen.
So this is where I think the change of pace happens. Looks like it actually went out further up the field here.
Sydney Olin getting to attack with excellent field position. Over to Risa, secures the disc. Doesn't like the look over to Garnier, who cycles into the middle, gets some separation. Up to Linnea Fraser. Back to
Sydney
Olin.
and
Airs
rips
it out.
Foster, a huge player in the end zone.
That was the most textbook box out that I think I have seen
That's another
so far.
point for
Definitely
Indy
today,
Red.
and perhaps so far this season. Slows up without, unnecessarily generating contact. Rises up with two hands, secures that disc. No risk of it getting knocked out of her hands by the encroaching Monarchs player. As we see Sydney, quick trigger, airs this disc out. Yes, and despite huge pressure from Alex Ballinger, Foster boxes her out, comes down with that disc.
Very clean. I've actually been on the receiving end of that many times. Been playing Foster for about a decade here, back from when she played at Purdue and when I was at Illinois. So very familiar with that feeling.
That's a real fun Great Lakes rivalry.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry for that.
Very happy to have been a practice player with Red and not have to deal with it myself.
It's nice to have those players on your team. It's just the worst to go up against somebody that you know is an athletic monster and say, well,
Absolutely.
I guess I'll guard them. That's fine. As Matamore looks for readiness from the other team and from her own. Disc is pulled. Huge rip from Makeda Matamore playing out of East Lansing. Captains the team out there. Pow. Duffy picks up. Doesn't like the center to Brown. Hits the upline instead. Miscommunication. Finds Rufus Duffner in the middle of the field.
Maya Hernandez almost with the hands there.
Yes. Shriver airs it out to Pruka. Gets the look from the observer. That's a goal. Monarchs right back on the board.
Nice,
3-2.
easy. Nice and easy for the Monarchs.
That's a score for
We do want to
Milwaukee.
take the time today and also thank our observers for allowing this game to go off. John Keel and Luke Thomas. Takes a lot to be an observer and an official in the world of Ultimate. As we Shriver just run through that disc despite heavy pressure from Hernandez, aired out to Pruka. Finds the line. Nice easy jump to get her into the end zone. Austin Pruka is just one of the best to do it.
We've got more shout-outs for you
Absolutely.
folks.
Huge presence on the field.
So
I've
Luna
only
Montenegro
played against her a
from
couple of
Courtney
times,
or
but
George, doesn't say here.
always noticed her on the
It says,
field.
"Vamos, let's
Sometimes
go."
you can evaluate the caliber of a player by the other teams that they play on. Austin Pruka enjoys her club seasons with the Raleigh Phoenix, one of the just absolute most dominant teams in the last 2 to 3 years in the club scene for USAU. Pulls going up from J.J. Jarek. Sails down the middle of the field, nice and clean. Fielded by Makeda Matamore. Up to Lauren Kitten. Pressure is on immediately from the Monarchs. So far, we're seeing a lot of matchup defense from these two teams as Skittles Milton evaluates her options, hits Schloniger in the middle of the field. Disc low, but scooped out by Katie Dyer-Cox.
Puts it to Eliza Hutchings.
And that disc, I thought that she had a chance.
I thought so too. Eliza Hutchings really coming in, revving up that speed, but just out of reach.
Eliza Hutchings, one of the fastest players on this red team. I am consistently shocked at some of the discs that she reels in. Not able to kick into that extra gear. So we see the Monarchs bring it up. Alex Hu on the mark for the Indy Red.
Alex, who is of course a terrifying mark. Really pressuring that throw right now.
Disc sailed all the way across the field. Too high for a skying Jarek. The Reds start their counterattack in an end, right on the end zone. Matamore doesn't like the swing to Hu. Dancing in the lane. Up line.
Fine.
Secures it. I love and hate the patience with which that goal was played out. It's one of the most infuriating things when you're practicing with the team and you see someone just dance and dance and dance and dance, only to still get rewarded with it. In this case, though, it goes the way of our red. Can only be but so mad about that.
Yeah, beautiful
We
find
had a
there.
Mac attack. Mac to who in the end zone?
As we hear a Mac attack from our PA announcers, gotta say I do enjoy that particular call. It is Makeda Matamore not here last week, fighting off an illness, able to get herself onto the score sheet early.
The Red actually switched up their handler lines a bit last week after Matt could not make it, and so we're back to normal practice lines here. So it's a different chemistry from last home game as well.
Some of that is player availability. Some of that is evaluation of who you're playing. It means if we're getting into the regularly practiced lines, they take this Monarchs team seriously. As the disc is over to Rufus Duffner, doesn't like the initial deep look, finds Brown on the up line.
Oh, Jalen.
Jalen Brown sneaks through 2 Monarchs players for the block as the Reds start. Middle of the field, Banis over to Timmons. Puts some distance between herself and Pruka. Upline to Banis. Disc is just too low. You saw her teeing up the layout. Unfortunately not able to pull the trigger this time as she kicks up some turf and the Monarchs begin going the other way. Brown to a skying Pruka. Disc aired out. Emily Cohen running it down again. Will she get there? Not able to chase that disc down. Red regained possession on their own goal line. We're starting to see it a little more. Huck and Stuff is a viable defense. I will say that every time I get a chance to call it. It is frustrating to play against, though. Finds Timmons in the middle of the field. Nice step out throw to Wyckoff. Quick dish over to Garnier. Doesn't like the look. Over to Banis. Moves over to Risa. Back in the middle of the field to Wyckoff. Up to Bolte. Doesn't like that deep look there to Baumgartner. Comes back under. Earns the disc, but Rufus Duffner runs through. A little bit of contact as Baumgartner hits the ground.
Looks like lots of contact there.
It's the first quarter, and things are ratcheting up in intensity. Makes for exciting Frisbee. Let's hope, though, that the team ambassadors do their job and that we make sure that we reel this back in. There is a lot of space for intense play. We want to make sure that we're not putting people in danger, though, or in the way of physical harm. Rufus looking for her sister, not able to find it. Gets to Austin Pruka. Doesn't like the initial upline to Cassie Brown. Kaylin Duffner is a big downfield presence, but sitting very comfortably in this handler space today, working with Pruka, airing it out to Cohen. Bolte Baxter plays the lane just behind. Red start again. So we mentioned the humidity earlier today. These long, hot points, especially played on turf, are going to start to have a wear on these players participating in them. We have yet to see a timeout call. It is early. Timmons screams past the other two.
And alone in the end zone, Timmons takes that goal.
It is Mary Timmons' world, and we are all just living in it.
And we are lucky to be doing it.
Bolte to Mary.
It was a longer point than the last couple here. Like you mentioned, that humidity is very heavy.
The score is now 5-2 in
So
Red.
about a 2-minute point there as these teams trade turnovers, and eventually we get the conversion from the Indianapolis Red. Mary Timmons.
This is to all the
We see her just
mothers
run
and
past the other
kids.
two, knowing that the disc is going to sail.
Appreciate you.
Dishes over to Bolte Baxter, just outruns her defender, who does, to be fair, need to stop and evaluate, make sure that the other options are, other people are coming up to help, see what she needs to do. Timmons takes advantage of the hesitation, just straight past her for the easy goal. Second goal of the day for Mary Timmons. Indianapolis Red enjoying a 5-2 lead currently over the Milwaukee Monarchs. Something that we touched on last week is the importance of point differential as the Red look to pursue through the rest of their season. There's a huge deficit that they have to make up due to big losses from the strike and from the shadow. An early 3-goal lead goes a long way towards helping our team get back into contention.
Yeah, and I think they would love to be able to secure both teams here that second place spot in this region.
Kelly Kirker runs down the block. Restarts for the Red, going back left to right. Oland over to Foster. Up to Timmons. Airs it out. Kelly Kirker.
An absolute beautiful put, and Kelly Kirker runs that down.
One hand outstretched. Secures the bookends. Spikes the disc, edge down, soars it. Rolls it around the end zone.
I believe it was Kelly Kirker that got that defensive play. She was huge last week with, I think it was 2 hand blocks on attempted hucks. And here we are.
Got some more shout outs, folks.
So Olin hits Foster, goes up to Timmons, evaluates an initial option, says no, big lefty backhand over to Kelly Kirker. One of the fastest players in Indianapolis, Kelly Kirker, could not have a more ideal target than that.
Yeah, having both Foster and Kirker playing together is not a matchup that I would want to see on a line if I was on the other side of it.
They're huge defensive presences. They are both tremendously lithe and athletic players. They get into spaces that don't make any sense, and both of them are known to run down discs they have no business running down. And as our production team in my ear letting us know, we are enjoying no wind today, which is why we are seeing this disc aired out so frequently.
That may be a first for both of these teams.
Yeah, a lot of windy games so far this season. It's nice to have a still day. Cassie Brown into the middle of the field to Pruka. Over to Cohen.
I like seeing this Dyer and Pruka matchup.
Two athletic beasts for sure. Kitten takes possession on the close sideline. Has McClurkin, doesn't look for her as she hits Katie Dyer upfield. Into Hernandez. Milton, no one downfield to continue to. Gibbs now dueling in the deep space with Pruka. Pruka gets her own block twice as Gibbs walks to the mark. Huge hammer from Pruka.
Cross field.
And too far for Annie Shriver. I like the hammer look. It's the first upside down throw we've seen today.
Yeah, and this weather has definitely ideal conditions to let those fly.
I hope for all the time points full of hammers and scoobers, dog. They just make my heart happy. Send it to McClurkin. Also a lefty. Double lefty backfield for the Indy Red right now. Looks for who? Pruka encroaching. Who able to secure the disc easily. Doesn't like the blade look to Gibbs. Sticks with Hernandez, though, up the line. And the Reds secure yet another break. Hernandez, huge air guitar. I don't think I've seen that one before.
No, I have not either.
Hernandez for Indianapolis Red.
Rocking and rolling.
So Alex, who was now notched an assist and a goal today. Maya Hernandez with her first score.
Is he who looking at Gibbs for a second there?
Who let the dogs out?
Who let the dogs out,
I love
indeed.
that.
To get back to something that we've touched on a couple times already, the depth of this Red team is showing early. We've got Mary Timmons, who, is a huge factor, but had a relatively quiet statistical game last week. Already has 2 goals and 1 assist. Alex, who was notched a goal and assist. Hernandez on the board for the first time today. Kelly Kirker with a block and a goal to match that. Contributions are coming from all up and down the line. Several completed hucks from Lauren Kitten. Several big pulls from Haley Banis. That having a complete team is so important as you push deeper and deeper into a season. You know you always count on your stars to carry you, but the ability to play 20 up and 20 down is something that pays huge dividends. The longer these games go, the longer the season runs.
Absolutely, and we see Mary Timmons there with the D.
Up to Bolte, up to Banis.
Being able to have all these options and knowing that all of these options are good is huge here.
Exactly. If you can trust everyone with the disc, as we see Timmons securing yet another big upfield gainer. Back to Umeno, swings over to Banis. Big pressure on the mark from Jarek.
Seems like the Monarchs are actually closing in on their marks a little. They were looser earlier in the game. They're trying to stop those throws from going off.
As we creep into the last 30 seconds, we're reminded of what our end of quarter rules are. Quarters 1 through 3, the team in possession of the disc as the clock strikes 0 gets to complete their possession. So the Monarchs don't need to do anything here except make sure they play steady ultimate, wanting to hold the disc still as the clock hits 0. As we creep inside of 10 seconds. Disc secured in the middle of the field by Hannah Frank. Aired out. And the Monarchs are able to put one through to end the quarter. Number 14, Lena Montenegro, getting on the board for the first time for the Monarchs, bringing their total to 3.
Milwaukee Monarchs end the quarter with the score. It's now 7-3, Indianapolis Red.
So at the end of one, Indianapolis Red are up 7-3 over the Milwaukee Monarchs. As we get one more look at that goal. easily aired out. No hesitation from the Monarchs as they find Montenegro in the end zone. I am Charlie Lowe with Ariel Dog Choi. We'll be right back.
We have
What are they, spaceships from Mars? No, they're frisbees. Watch it soar. It flies way around like a bird. You can even run for a pass. You can play all kinds of games. Isn't it amazing? Frisbee Flying Saucer. Yours at toy, drug, and department stores.
We are back on a Saturday afternoon. Big divisional matchup for the Premier Ultimate League between Indianapolis Red and the visiting Milwaukee Monarchs. Red enjoying a 7-3 advantage right now, in no small part due to big contributions from Mary Timmons and Alex Hu, filling it up on both sides of the disc. What do you like out of that first quarter, Dog?
You know, I think I really do like having all these big shots early in the game. It makes it exciting, and they're really opening up the options, both teams. And it shows that they're really making use of the whole field. I think defensive pressure has been great on both sides here as well.
Disc in the middle of the field to Anna McClurkin. Red is still employing that all-lefty backfield on these D-lines.
Looking very poachy here by the Monarchs.
Early adjustment, we see tight no-around mark and a little bit of zone from the Monarchs. Looks sort of like a 3-2-2.
Something like that. Really going to force Red to have some creative throws here.
Yeah, as we're seeing them employ a lot of people in the backfield. Lauren Kitten we know her for airing out those backhands. That high release that she throws is a killer.
Great St. Louis connection from Eliza Hutchings to Gibbs.
Indy Red starts off
Those players have some great chemistry between Skittles, Eliza, and Gibbs. We saw some of those connections last week a ton, and we continue to see that today.
Gibbs, one of the statistical leaders for the Red last week, gets on the board for the first time today with running mate Eliza Hutchings. As we get a look at our replay, Skittles airs it out. Hutchings knows how to reel that in. Gibbs just attacks to the empty space as we see one of the Monarchs cross into that lane. Just nice up and over. Easy reel in for Gibbs. Red push the lead to 8-3. Back up to 5. The Monarchs are starting to make the adjustments that they need to. That zone look slowing down the very fast-paced Indy Red attack. Now for them, it's going to be all about getting blocks and then making sure that they secure easy offensive possessions.
Yeah, let's play some safe ultimate here and Doesn't look like there was a call there.
No call. Heavy pressure from Sydney Oland. Cassie Brown not able to reel the disc in. Risu Umeno up the line for a huge gainer. Finds Emily Wyckoff. Makes sure that she secured the goal. Spikes the disc with emphasis. First goal of the day for number 22.
Got crowded in that sideline over there, but Wyckoff able to hold it in.
Emily Wyckoff originally played college over in Rochester, New York. Found her way to Indiana in about 2017. Has been a huge and heavy presence in both the Bloomington and Indianapolis Ultimate communities since then. A true pillar and one of the definitive players as we see Umeno reel this disc in. Sticks with Wyckoff through a stumble. Rips that disc away as she's able to recover quickly. Wyckoff is the definition of what it means to be a pillar of this community. And we want to take some time to remind you that this broadcast is brought to you by Spin Ultimate, this live broadcast of the Premier Ultimate League. Spin Ultimate, providing custom team uniforms and ultimate apparel since 2007. Please visit Spin on the web at spinultimate.com. We thank them for their support. That's how this broadcast is possible. Pulls soaring far and wide today as number 64, Rachel Hildebrand, starts the offense for the Monarchs. Over to number 6, Jane Zhang. Evaluates the inside lane, doesn't like it. Until she's able to find number 27, SBS, Steph Bugash-Skopeline. Turnover, though, up to Risu Umeno. Disc is aired up. Gonna float for sure. Mary Timmons outpaces SBS and Jane Zhang. A spike unintentionally at the feet, though, of Jane Zhang.
I think what we're really seeing here from Red is that they're really converting fast. They're doing a great job of going straight into the offense after those defensive plays.
When you talk about high octane and you talk about teams that are good at fast break offense, how big of a difference maker that can be. Quickly ending points is a huge way to ensure that your legs stay fresh.
Yes.
And on a hot day on turf, they say that turf adds 10 degrees. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Timeout called on the field. Indianapolis Red are going to get an opportunity to talk through their continued defensive approach and likely a recentering going on almost literally at the center of the field for the Milwaukee Monarchs.
You know, speaking of the heat, I was just standing on the sideline watching these teams warm up, and I think I was sweating just as much as them, even though I was not moving. Very humid out here. The air is heavy.
The air is heavy. With excitement, though, we want to take a moment to recognize and thank all of our fans and supporters of both of these teams, and especially of the Indianapolis Red. The far sideline, we see an empty stand, but here on the home sideline, it is raucous. There are some of the biggest names in Indianapolis Ultimate out here, all here to show their support of Charlotte Pyre and of their Indy Red. Also want to shout out the Brebeuf High School Braves and the Brebeuf Ultimate Team. Thank you for sharing your field space with us today. We got to see a phenomenal high school showcase game earlier. Brebeuf, I believe, came away with the victory. They got the W over Scottsburg. Way to go, Brebeuf Ultimate. Kayla Murphy jogs to the sideline for the Monarchs. As we see the Red get ready to pull the disc. Jackie Lai giving final tune-ups to this Red D-line. I do believe that coaches have to be off the field by 50 seconds out of the total 70 between points. Jackie really enjoying all 50 of those seconds just now. Disc is fielded by Cohen into Duffy in the middle of the field. Six with Pruka. Matamore runs it straight through. Quick hands from Matamore. High release from Hu. To Matamore on the goal line. Looks at Dyer. Doesn't like the look. McClurkin guarded by Rufus in the backfield, and Pruka into the middle, swats the disc away from Dyer with emphasis, with importance, knowing that this is going to be a huge hold for the Monarchs. It's not going to come easily, though, as we are seeing tight matchup defense from the Red. Duffy up to Caitlin Duffner in the middle of the field. Evaluates some options. Six with her sister. High release. Duffner's playing catch in the backfield right now. Over to Cassie Brown. Once again, 3 Nemesis teammates. A lot of chemistry there. Up to Pruka. Big gainer up the line. Looking downfield. Enough time for Matamore to seal in on the defense. Huge break throw. That was crispy and just too far for Duffy. As Reds start on the low side. Looking to push back downfield. We see Schloniger taking Rufus to the house. Disc does not go up. Big up the line to Matamore. Finds Hutchings. Pressure from Caitlin Duffner. Disc sails too far for Katie Dyer-Cox. Caitlin Duffner employs one of the longest wingspans on this Monarchs team. Whether she sets her mark up 1 foot away or 4 or 5 feet away, there's a very real threat for her to get a hand block on you.
Yeah. Hard to not want to put it when you have a Katie Dyer-Cox running in the end zone.
She's a PE teacher. Her entire life is athletics.
Getting in those reps every day.
Indy Red does support all of our local educators. You should too. As we see her try to knock the disc away from Pruka. Inside flick to the middle of the field, too far for either of her teammates. Number 5, Rose Glinka in the area. A phenomenal target, somebody you always want to be throwing to. Just a little too far. Matamore picks up the disc. Looking at marked by Cassie Brown.
Rufus right on Eliza there.
Great defensive adjustments. You can tell that the Monarchs are coming out with a much higher intensity than they've shown this game so far.
Absolutely.
And I am really enjoying downfield the duels between Austin Pruka and whomever she is guarding.
Yeah. There's definitely way more pressure than earlier this game as they challenge Red. We were just talking about how those breaks have been quick, and that is not the case anymore as they add more of that pressure.
Alex Hu on the mark here against Eileen Duffy Duffner, centered to Cassie Brown. Disc too far for a bidding Pruka into the hands of her Monarchs teammates. The Red are going to start on the far side of the field, moving left to right. This point creeping up, starting to get a little long. 3 minutes passed so far. Centered in the middle of the field to Dyer, over to Hutchings. Once again, that huge pressure from Caitlin Duffner. We see the foot kick up, no block secured. Airs it out. Dyer-Cox to Hutchings. They connect this time. Clean toes, plenty of space, and that is another goal for the Indianapolis Red. Dyer's first assist of the day.
You know, even though it didn't connect, I really enjoyed seeing the Monarchs stretch the field so much more than they have been. They've been really making the Red work and putting them up. Great put by Dyer.
Looking at body language a little bit, Pruka, as she came in to mark Dyer there, can tell that this point was long. Not in a position to get her arms up and contest that throw. Makes it even easier for Dyer to air that out to Hutchings.
Yeah.
And those are the sorts of things that, you know, are going to become important over the course of the game. We're only in the second quarter so far. Still 6 minutes, 42 seconds remaining. It's a long quarter as the Red enjoy an 8-point lead over the Monarchs. Disc low this time. Skids about 25 yards outside of the end zone. Picked up, centered to 64 Hildebrand. Not able to attack upfield. Break around to number 22, Alex Ballinger. Back to Hildebrand. Zhang airs it out. Big old blade flick. Secured by 22, Alex Ballinger. There's Charlotte Pyre. Evaluates her options. Very, very cool with the disc. One of the most consistent players, Caitlin Murphy tells us, on this Monarchs team. Looks off teammate Hildebrand. Throws a little late. A drop by Hildebrand. Pyre on the mark. Disc is centered to Oland. Finds Wyckoff in the middle of the field. Oland taking her time, evaluating some options. You can tell the Red don't feel any pressure to make things happen. They are enjoying, as a part of this 8-goal lead, the ability to let plays develop. Time very much on their side. Kirker in the middle of the field from Frazier over to Banis. Airs it out. Foster, almost like she wasn't looking for the disc. Found it at the last second like, oh, they threw to me. Gets that hand up, brings in another goal.
I guess I am in the end zone. Yeah, we see Red getting good yardage to their cutters and handlers coming up immediately to get that disc back. I think they did that about 3 times in a row here. Great look. Right to Haley Banas. Finds an open Foster.
Kicks that long right arm up to secure the goal. Anastasia Foster on the board. And the Monarchs are just not coming up with any solutions right now.
We saw Alex Ballinger with a great grab on a contested throw, and then going deep. I played with Alex in college and a couple years in club, and she is someone who is very consistent with the disc and is also able to be really big in the air. I'm excited to see what she can do here for them.
So what do you think the Monarchs need to do here as we look to finish out, 5 minutes still left in this quarter? What kind of adjustments are you looking for the Monarchs to make?
I think they definitely a mental game. It's hard to play like this when you have that difference in score. They've got all the throws, they've got the options. I think they're just in their heads right now and just need to play it safe here. Maybe communicate a little more. We see some double cuts just now.
Yeah, I think some cleaning up the talk would go a long way for this team. A team full of intelligent players like JJ Jarek as she catches for a huge gainer and pushes up to Michaela Heilicker. They advance the disc to Hannah Frank. The call on the field, though. Pick a call as we see the whiff-diff hand signs go up, kind of looking like the crossbars of a football field. Play resumes. Heilicker up the line, does not get the disc. Big around to Jarek. Pressured by Bolte Baxter. A lot of edge on that throw. Comes in just in a place where it might not quite have been, the receiver might not have been quite ready for the disc to come in with that sharp of an angle. Umeno starts the red counter. Guiding her options. Does not throw the first break. Pushes to Olin, who has to bid. Disc pops out of her hand. And we see a call on the field. Did the red get a timeout call off before the turnover?
Got hands up from Sid Olin, maybe in relief?
I think so. Timeouts have to be communicated to the observers. They cannot just be initially called by players and stopped. Recognition goes when the observers are able to recognize. That is a phenomenal save by the Red coaching staff. If I'm coaching the Monarchs right now, the thing that I'm telling them is that we don't have to make up 9 points in 5 minutes. This is not a USAU club game where we are playing to a max of 15 and the pressure's really on us to make up this disparity. Mm-hmm. If they can, if we can clean off 2 or 3 points a quarter, starting with this one, we're right back in contention by the end of the game.
Absolutely. It's that classic thing you hear in the huddle. It's just another game to 2, right? You just play our game to 2, play our game to 1, just focus on our catches and throws. They're doing great defensive pressure, and they're making clean cuts. I think, again, like we said, just some communication errors here, and they can really come back.
And they're showing an ability, as we've talked about with the Reds' depth, they're showing an ability and a confidence for players to succeed in spaces they're maybe more unfamiliar with. We've seen Jacqueline Jarek and we've seen Charlotte Pyre and we've seen Caitlin Duffner all rotate into the backfield at different times, and all of those players are known for their downfield cutting.
Yes.
If they can get the sort of rotation going, there's no reason that they shouldn't be able to put some clean possessions together and, at least put some of these holds through. Absolutely. They can address the breaks after that.
Absolutely.
So, as we know in the pro leagues, on a timeout, you are able to shift personnel, as we see an O-line on the field now for the Indy Red and a D-line on the field for the Monarchs. Matamore swings to Kitten. Doesn't like the initial continue to Who. Finds Dyer Cox on the far side. Advances to Skittles. Airs it out with that big step out left-handed to her teammate Hutchings. Hutchings getting Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 levels of air on that grab.
And another St. Louis connection there.
So we see that's huge step out backhand.
Skittles to Hutchings.
Skittles to Hutchings. Hutchings skying over number 2, Donna Johnston. Another goal on the board for the Indy Red.
Great screenshot jump by Hutchings.
And if you are enjoying the live stream today, we ask that you share your dollars just as much as you share your presence and joy with us. Whether you can give $1, $5, $10, $100, everything that you can do to support this team goes to everything from reducing travel costs, making jerseys more affordable, reserving field space, and bringing you, in partnership with Spin, of course, bringing you these live streams. It's what lets us get to share the joy of Premier Ultimate League Frisbee with you. We ask that you share your kindness with us. Middle of the field, Cassie Brown, backwards hat now. She means business like she's Ash Ketchum. Communicating, gets Duffy up the line. Just a little dance. Airs it out, sharp edge on that disc. Cohen through a group. Pushes over to Glinka. Shriver evaluating her options. Doesn't like Duffy initially. Sails it across the field to Pruka. What an incredible grab.
Great find.
Flipping over herself. Brings down the one-handed grab. Disc is back to Pruka. Big around break to Duffy. Pushes to Shriver. Duffy back in the middle of the field, and we're starting to see a little more of an end zone set.
Ooh.
And with her own skying grab back, Emily Cohen ends that point on her terms. Monarchs back on the board.
Cohen with a great grab between 3 red defenders, and then Pruka with that huge grab over the swing.
Monarchs.
So this is just some textbook Frisbee. Swing the disc, swing the disc, swing the disc, until finally we get the look downfield that we want.
Yeah, great patience by the Monarchs.
And more importantly, sometimes you just got to give players a chance to make plays. Emily Shriver goes up strong for that grab. That's the point the Monarchs have been waiting for. That's the point that they needed. It does not put the biggest disparity. It does not put the biggest dent into the goal disparity. However, a clean hold goes a long way towards, regaining your confidence, kickstarting your offense, and getting your team re-engaged with the game.
Absolutely, and now that defensive lineman can come in with some fire and put some pressure onto Red here. Great pull by J.J. Jarek.
A rare look at the Indy O-line for today. Alex, who advances to Kitten. Over to McClurkin. Are all 3 of them lefties?
Alex, who is a righty.
Okay.
The lone righty here in the back.
Seeing a Ho-Stack look for the Red as they look to push through this Monarchs zone. I asked Caitlin Murphy about the zone, and all that she said was it is the brainchild of DJ Huang, the other coach. So I can't really tell you much more about that. It looks to be sort of a 3-2-2. A lot of lane pressure as they drop out of it into a junk look. Disc sails up.
Katie Dyer with the sky coming down with it over the top of the head of a Monarchs player.
Michaela Heilicker did everything that they were supposed to do. They established position without fouling. They snuck into that spot, and it did not matter as Katie Dyer Cox, one of the best athletes playing in this game, just goes straight overhead, plucks the apple off the tree.
Fantastic positioning by both players.
And all done without fouling. An incredible testament to both of those players, especially after some of the extracurriculars we had in the first quarter.
Yeah, we've been seeing good body awareness and control by both teams here.
So we'd spent all this time lauding the Monarchs for an incredibly clean hold, and here's to hoping they don't get too demoralized after a punch right back from the Indy Red. These teams have done what they've needed to in terms of cleaning up these points. They're not going as long anymore. It's going to allow for some more fireworks like that play. The Monarchs, though, as they put these clean holds on the board, have to start really thinking about how they can ratchet up their defensive pressure. The zone looks are helping. The clean shifts into the junk looks are helping. It's all going to come back to clean holds and intense and a continued intensification of their pressure. Brown, huge windup. Airs the disc out. Pruka boxes out Foster. No call on the play. Glinka does not advance the disc, taking her time to evaluate the options. Big fake around to Duffy. Does not like Pruka screaming across the field. Disc too low for a bidding Shriver as the Reds immediately start pushing the other direction. Garnier up to Umeno. Does not air the disc out. Looking for some help anywhere. Baumgartner in the middle of the field through 3 defenders. Dispatch to Umeno. There it is. And not on the same page with Foster, who looks a little bit frustrated as the disc soars past her. Inside of a minute, you have to understand that the Red definitely wanted to come away with that goal. A big break opportunity for them. Umeno pressuring Duffy on the mark. Up to Caitlin Duffner. High release around to Duffy. Middle of the field to Brown. Pick called on the field. End of the first half does not work like the end of the second half. The Monarchs, if they retain possession, will get to play it out. The clock does stop, though, inside the last 2 minutes of this half. Oland in the area, able to get a finger up underneath it.
Great awareness by Oland.
Shriver not able to complete the grab. Disc centered to Garnier. Pushes up to Mary, chased by Pruka. Step around to Foster. Pushes to Garnier. Shooting straight up the line for the Red.
Final seconds of the second half here.
Upline to a bidding Risa Umeno. The Red with one final gut punch to end the first half as Umeno toes the line, lays it all out, and gets the goal for the Indy Red.
A classic Risa Umeno layout.
I think that's right. I think that a classic Risa Umeno layout is,
for Indy Red.
you know, if you switched the U and the R, it would just be curl. It all starts with this block from Sydney Oland. Without throwing her body too hard at Shriver, gets her hand just up underneath that disc enough to disrupt the flight.
That makes the score 15-4. Indy Red.
We see Foster push up the line to Garnier. And this is just straight up the line offense. Umeno loses Duffy. Huge layout. Keeps herself in bounds. And the Red end the half on their terms. 3 seconds left.
Okay,
We could still get some
coming on
fireworks.
here. Yeah. Think we'll see a nice deep shot from the beginning.
It's really hard to pick the disc up, step out, and loft it as far as it needs to go. However, though, they don't have to do that.
Very true.
They can just play some possession offense.
Red
So
Bull
long as the
offense.
disc is in their hands, they're good to go. We'll see, though, if any of them forget that. You have to imagine that's what Caitlin Murphy is reminding them of down on the line, is the, hey, we can just play possession offense.
Yes, we just have to cherish the disc here. And, you know, Red just has to come out and play some hard D, but the Monarchs can walk it up the field. They have all the time, even with the 3 seconds running out.
Cherish the disc is excellent verbiage, dog. Love it. Cherish it. Take care of it.
Some of the coach's favorite sayings, for sure.
That sounds like a Jackie Lyism.
Jackie.
Wind picking up just a little bit. We see some blowing on the flag. Dark clouds in the distance, not a worry to us as we enjoy phenomenal conditions down on the Brebeuf Braves High School field. Once again, thank you to Brebeuf for hosting us today. The pull is up. Fielded by Hildebrand. Advanced to Zhang. Has a deep cutter. Closely watched by Timmons. Disc advanced to 27. SBS. Around to Zhang. Big gainer. Too far for number 18, Grace Zucchero. And the half ends. Current score, Indianapolis Red 15. Milwaukee Monarchs 4. And you could not ask for a better half for the Indianapolis Red.
Yeah, they are walking away
Your hometown
in this break
Indy
with a
Red
very
is leading
comfortable lead.
15-4.
All right, we will be back in a few minutes with the second half action of the Premier Ultimate League. Indianapolis Red playing 15 over the Milwaukee Monarchs 4. For Ariel Dog Choi, I'm Charlie Lowe.
What are they, spaceships from Mars? No, they're frisbees. Watch it soar. It flies way around like a bird. You can even run for a pass. You can play all kinds of games. Isn't it amazing? Frisbee Flying Saucer. Yours at toy, drug, and department stores. What are they, spaceships from Mars? No, they're frisbees. Watch it soar. It flies way around like a bird. You can even run for a pass. You can play all kinds of games. Isn't it amazing? Frisbee Flying Saucer. Yours at toy, drug, and department stores.
22 with the score. I think white is the veteran team. Someone let me know.
Yes.
Yes, thumbs up. Okay, thank you. Eli Kerber is going to American University in Washington, D.C. and majoring in an interdisciplinary program called CLEG, Communications, Law, Economics, and Government. At Brebeuf, Eli was president of the Young Democrats and founded the Dungeons & Dragons Club. In Ultimate was captain of the JV team for the 2022 season. Lydia Champ. Lydia has been playing Ultimate for 4 years at Brebeuf. She is headed to Indiana University in the fall to study finance at the Kelley School of Business. Let's hear it for all the Brebeuf seniors. Red Brebeuf scores. Number 10. We've got another shout out while we're here. Doesn't say who it's from, but it says Happy Mother's Day. Oh, it says love your offspring. So I guess if you are a mother with offspring, they're saying Happy Mother's Day to you. Don't forget to buy a shout out. And I'll basically say whatever's on it. So if you want to make me sound silly, you can do that. Number 10 scores. We've got another shout out here. This one's to Emma from your Cincinnati friends. Come find your Cincinnati friends.
Welcome back. At the half, Indianapolis Red 15, Milwaukee Monarchs 4 in this presentation of the Premier Ultimate League. I'm Charlie Lowe, with me, Ariel Dog Choi. I want to take some time to shout out our sponsors.
This live broadcast of the Premier Ultimate League is brought to you by Spin Ultimate. Spin Ultimate, providing custom team uniforms and ultimate apparel since 2007. Visit Spin on the web at spinultimate.com. We would also like to thank Discraft. The Discraft Ultra Star is the official disc of the Premier Ultimate League. Discraft, the world leader in disc sports.
We'd also like to thank MDMI. Thank you to one of our local sponsors. Materials Data Management has the experience and drive necessary to help your organization deploy the best in engineering materials information management solutions. Check us out on LinkedIn for current job openings and our website, materialsdatamanagement.com, for a list of our services and software. Data importers, exporters, and consulting too. MDMI is here for you. Big thank you as well to Everyone's Joy Photography. Everyone's Joy Photography, UIndy sports team photographer and Indy Red's official photography company. Doesn't matter if you need sports or fashion. We got you covered at any event. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, or online at everyone'sjoyphotography.com. Dog.
Charlie.
Got a whole nother half ahead of us. What are you looking forward to?
We do. I am really looking forward to the fire that Monarchs are about to bring. They took the half to go inside, get into the locker room, and reconvene. I think it probably was very helpful to get out of this humid air, go into some AC, and have that space for themselves to mentally reset.
Yeah, I could not agree more with that. 9 points is huge. 9 points is not impossible. Bigger comebacks have happened in Ultimate at the pro level and at the club level. And the Monarchs, frankly, have the caliber of talent to get it done.
Absolutely.
They put the work in to source talent more locally from Milwaukee this year instead of just pulling all Madison and Chicago, something that has shown benefits, high levels of chemistry on this team this year, but it can take a long time for players who are used to playing different strategies, different levels, etc., to coalesce. We're going to hope that they continue to work through some of those growing pains and come out strong in the second half against this Indy Red team. Also, we want to thank one more sponsor, Disc Store. DiscStore.com has the guaranteed lowest prices on everything. If you find a cheaper price, they'll beat it by 5%. Go to DiscStore.com for the best prices on all your Ultimate needs. including discs, custom apparel, jerseys, apparel, and swag. And with a little swag herself, Haley Banis pulls the disc for the Indianapolis Red as we get started at the beginning of the third quarter. Wind starting to have an effect as the disc is not clear, or just barely clears by positioning. It looks like the middle of the field. Picked up by Cassie Brown. Walks it to the center, and we will get going. Cassie Brown's going to continue being a pivotal part. She's being asked to shoulder a heavy load today for the Monarchs. Airs that disc out. Nobody in the neighborhood of Emily Shriver. And what a quick start for the Monarchs.
Great way to boost morale from the get-go.
I don't think that you could draw it up better if you wanted to. Brown picks it up. One throw score. Foster not quite able to get the hand on the disc that she's looking for. Shriver gets low, secures that goal. And the Monarchs open in the best way they know how and the best way that they could.
Shriver creating that great separation and knowing that Cassie can put that and hit her right in that space.
35 seconds tick off the clock. A lot of time left for the Monarchs to get some more of those.
And that is that fire that we were just talking about. They're coming out here and they're going for it. I'm excited to see more of it happening.
Red are probably still feeling pretty good. Quick D-line point is nice. It means the everyone's legs stay nice and fresh. We want to take some time to thank all of our fans for coming out and supporting both our local high school team, Brebeuf, as well as the Indianapolis Red. Fans, you are who makes it happen. Thank you for being here. McClurkin over to an adjusting Gibbs. Looks for the backhand rip. Content to push upfield to Makeda Matamore instead. Skittles will air it out, however. Once again to teammate Eliza Hutchings. Adjusts, runs it down, despite heavy pressure from Dana Demert. St. Louis on the board again.
Yeah, we see that connection between Skittles to Eliza one more time here.
That makes the score 16-5. We've got some more
Skittles just gets so much separation on that step out due to being a lefty. A flick force is, often a playground for those left-handed throwers. That's the second time that we've seen her really enjoy the spacing she earns there as she finds her long-term running mate Eliza Hutchings in the end zone.
Executive Director Jamie Smets. Happy Mother's Day.
And those sort of top-to-bottom contributions, we've said it once, we're going to keep saying it. Those are the things that have allowed this red team to push this disparity, this goal differential as high as they have. Knowing that they can get it from player 1 to 20 really means that no single person has to shoulder the load for this team. As we see Oland rip a huge pull, laying that about 20 yards outside of the end zone, picked up by Duffy, advanced to Brown as the Monarchs look to put another clean hold on the board. Shriver, Pruka, Duffner also on the field as well. Advanced to Cohen. Called her name a lot today. Brown working those tight spaces around Banis. Airs it one more time to Shriver. Bolte able to get underneath it and get a hand on it.
Great D.
Not quite the float that Brown was looking for on that disc. Shriver had to wait too long to make a move, and Bolte able to get up over her. Oland advances to the goal line. Kicks off the red offense. Doesn't like the up line to Banis. Airs it out instead. Baumgartner and Timmons in the area. And an immediate notable adjustment. Tons of players in the area for the Monarchs. Stopping a quick ahead look. Disc too far for Garnier. Those are the adjustments the Monarchs have needed to make. Those effort adjustments that, hey, the throw's going up, everyone needs to bust downfield and pick somebody up. Immediately flustered the Red, who previously were enjoying quick advancement of the disc.
Yes. Good pressure by Garnier here.
Tight D from Garnier. Reaches right around her Duffner. Pushes to Cohen. Cohen's running it down just too far.
Monarchs really making good use of that deep space starting out in this half.
Dog, have you ever heard the phrase that the layout only hurts if you don't get it?
I have, and I very much agree.
I want to add something to that. The deep run only hurts if you don't get thrown to or if it's too far.
You're only tired if you don't get it.
One more time, Timmons. Not even running full speed. Both players catch the disc. Tie goes to the offense. Rex-specs Timmons. Drops back to Garnier. Does not take the downfield look to Bolte. Pushes to Banis. slings the flick blade over, and that is a goal for number 22, Emily Wyckoff, from number 4, Haley Banis. Another break secured for the Indianapolis Red, 17-5.
Another goal for Wyckoff in that
That
corner.
makes the score 17-5.
That is, it is in that corner, isn't it, Dog? 2 in the same place for Wyckoff.
We've got some more shout-outs.
She wears 22. She's got 2 goals in the same spot.
This one, the 2 and from.
That's
the front of
consistency.
anonymous says "Go Annie, go" and "Go Grace."
As the wind
To Katie
has died
Dyer
back
Cox
down,
from Colin Ringwood. Number
it
0
is
on the field,
tremendously
number 1
important,
on
I think,
hearts.
to mention how
That's cute.
the effect that throw shape has
To Kelly Kirker
for
from
these
Ben.
players,
I love
and,
you so
you know, in this
much,
game,
with 4 O's and 3
that
exclamation
blade
points.
from
Man,
Banis
that's love.
over to Wyckoff did hold up a little bit more. There was opportunity, for the Monarchs player, perhaps maybe dangerously if they had tried, but to make some catch up. It wasn't quite as fast as a throw,
Yes.
as just a nice flat, push. However, it does mean that Wyckoff has time to run on to it.
Right.
We've seen a lot of these players, those especially crafty with the disc in their hands, shape the throws as they need to work some of these angles. As the wind picks up and dies down repeatedly, those sorts of adjustments are going to become important. Disc pops out of the hands of number 11, Rachel Lensing. It's going to be picked up by Alex Hu. Has McClurkin for free, takes it. They advance the disc over to Hernandez. Hernandez pushes to Hutchings. What a swipe from Hutchings to save possession. Over to Hernandez. Adjusts, catches with 2 hands. Across to Hu. Feels like there's an owl in here. Drops back to Matamore. Does not like the swing to McClurkin. Inside lane to Schloniger. Easy upfield to Hutchings. That's another goal for Hutchings and another break for the Red. Hutchings working on a second hat trick of goals today.
Schloniger to
Some
Hutchings,
great grabs
Lady
from
Red.
Hutchings
That
and
makes it
Schloniger here.
18-5.
So we see Alex Hu finds Matamore. A cheeky little inside throw that turns over even from being that IO to almost OI. Gets it inside to Hutchings. That inside lane has been huge for the Red. It's one of the things that Jackie Lai, Blake Vanderbush, Samantha Pukish have been pushing with this team. We have more options if we're in the middle of the field. So you have seen team-wide an emphasis on attacking those interior lanes rather than being content to swing outside and getting stuck on sideline or sideline.
Yes, I think they've done a great job of utilizing that break space, which past games with the wind and the rain and just weather weren't exactly the easy options before.
Pull goes up from Oland. Monarchs look to get a clean hole here, fielded by Frank. Advances to Zhang. Swings over to Montenegro. Lines up the huck, does not take it. Swings over to Heilicker. They attack the interior lane. Disc over to Frank. Aired out to Jarek. Has 1 receiver and 3 defenders in the area, but no mark. Has plenty of time to do what she needs. Swings across to Frank. Disc just a little too far. Hannah Frank lauded for her consistency by her coaching staff. Disc just a little bit too far for her to make a play on it. Jarek bids to earn the disc back. Gets up straight into a mark. That's the kind of grit that can only come from playing Great Lakes Ultimate. Jarek starting her collegiate career at Flywheel,
Lots
University
of
of
bids
Michigan.
right now.
Monarchs flying across the field. Red flying across the field. Oland doesn't like what she sees until she gets Foster in the middle. Down to Banis. Attacks the break space. Jarek holding up for a second, trying not to get clocked in the head. Kirker has Foster going. Does not take that huck. Crowd is disappointed by that one. I am too. Banis pressured by Jarek. Over to Umeno. Completes the swing across the field to Oland. Zhang drops in on D. Wyckoff in the middle, sliding grab. And over to Kirker. Second goal of the day for Kelly Kirker. The blue cleats lead the Red to victory. Normally. Not yet. Kelly Kirker gets her second goal.
Kelly Kirker really working up there, getting that huge distance upfield and then creating space again for that goal.
And we see the replay. Wyckoff slides, picks up the disc, evaluates the options, and just finds Kelly Kirker on that sideline. as quickly as you and I can spit out analysis, the teams go the other way. Spend so much time talking about the working of the inside lanes, and the Red immediately on at this point go back to swinging the disc sideline to sideline until they get the looks they want.
Just letting us know they can do it all.
Great players are going to make great plays.
Don't forget to send your shout-outs, folks. This one's to Kristen Coughlin from Petunia. Thank you for dog sitting last weekend.
Taking some time to think about the larger picture of the Premier Ultimate League in this Midwest division. The Red need to keep the cleats to the turf, as it were. Every single point of this point differential matters to them as they look to erase the huge loss to the Shadow at the beginning of the season. And the Monarchs are going to go play a closely contested game against the Columbus Pride. Two teams working very hard to establish their will. Another chance for the Monarchs to come out and get a large goal deficit of their own, perhaps. Brown airs it out one more time. She's got the green light at this point, and what better target is there than Cohen as she secures the grab. Keeps toes in. And a dad backhand for a goal to Austin Pruka.
That is huge for the Monarchs here. Not only is it exciting, but she just did that through two defenders. It has to be boosting morale just to see your teammate do something as amazing as that. Great toe-in by Cohen.
Great toe-in by Cohen.
There
Dog,
we
you
go.
wordsmith.
Let's see it again.
So as we see the throw get aired out, a lot of forward edge up, so Cohen has to make a play coming back for the disc. Gets her hands down inside. Zerver certainly doesn't rule her out. And then just a little quick barbecue backhand to secure the goal to Pruka.
Oof.
It's the throw that we all learned to throw before we've ever even thought about playing Frisbee, because we all have dads and they all like to play catch.
True
we don't all
nature.
have, it's just what screams summer like, standing in the backyard, soda in your hand, throwing a Frisbee really badly. Every goal the Monarchs get, I'm excited about. They've all come with fireworks. Looking for them, the pressure is on to continue stringing a couple of these together. Strong D-line out there for Milwaukee. J.J. Jarek, Hannah Frank, Lena Montenegro, as they look to put a break on the board and eat into this differential. Dyer Cox airs it out to Hernandez.
Beautiful put. Straight into the end zone.
Tiniest kick spike of all time. What a throw from Dyer Cox.
That was Katie Dyer Cox.
Again,
and
that win has
Hernandez.
died down completely. Beautiful put by Dyer. A nice high release by Kitten. Finding a wide open Maya Hernandez.
Maya Hernandez, who travels down to play with the Indianapolis Red from Ann Arbor Hybrid, where she has been a second-place finisher at Club Nationals 2 years ago, participant at WUCC's last summer, as well as going back to Nationals with Hybrid. She brings a veteran presence to this team. She also brings a willingness to do what it takes to win. Maya is just as content in games where she fills up the stat sheet as she is to have not touched the disc if it means that the team secured a victory. Those are the kind of players, the kind of contributions that you look for from your traveling team, from your traveling players. Oland, a lot of edge on this pole this time, hoping to get a couple rolling yards. She does. A very friendly bounce. Settles in front of Hildebrand, does not take the look to Zhang. And right into the hands of Timmons. Oland with Baxter Bolte Baxter for free, finds Garnier instead. Disc across to Bolte Baxter, advances to Baumgartner. Has Timmons by herself, takes on the second attempt. Disc is too late. As Timmons shakes her hands, though, with foul is called against 88 Claire Kelly. Some conversation going on between the two players as they look to establish the call, going to the observer.
Unclear.
And it's tapped back live, so the defensive play is going to stand for the Monarchs, despite the contact. Zhang picks up. Swing over to Hildebrand. Discus too far. I'm not going to say it, though. The Red are going to pick up at the goal line and look to put in an easy goal. Production team in my ear wanting me to say the thing, and I'm not going to say the thing. Reds secure the goal. A little more conversation, though. Perhaps a push-off against Hildebrand from Garnier. Garnier advocating for herself as all I did was stop myself, go back the other direction. Hildebrand looking for more of a push-off call.
Going to the observers here.
Perhaps the fairest thing of them all, disc is going to go back to Oland in the middle of the field. The Red will just get a new look at the end zone. A little discussion about where this stall is coming in, perhaps. SBS on the mark for the Monarchs. Disc is swung to Umeno. Big around to Foster. Blocked by the Monarchs.
Great D by Ballinger.
Zhang does not like the swing to Hildebrand, who instead finds it upline too far, but dug out by SBS. Advances. Number 18, Grace Zucchero. Needs an outlet. Finds SBS again, calling her name a lot now. Disc is too far, though, for the Monarchs. And the Red are going to pick up about 7 yards outside the end zone. Oland going to get the offense started for the Red. Umeno marked by Zhang. Doesn't like the inside lane. Swings around to Garnier. Has Bolte Baxter coming in for a huge gainer on the far side. Pushes inside to Foster. Two-handed grab. This is a little too far. Too much edge on that throw from Foster. Sails past Garnier. Hildebrand looks to pick up on the far side of the field and start the continued Monarchs attack. Timeout taken. Going to get a substitution in for the Monarchs. Knowing the importance of securing this break opportunity, they're going to trot out an offensive line, very likely. The Red will get to counter with their own defensive line.
Yeah, we're seeing good defensive pressure by the Monarchs, but they have not been connecting on that O.
To Jamie Smets from the Monarchs. Thank you for letting us stay at your house. You are the best.
Just talk a little bit about how they can support Red by scanning the QR code.
Another shout out, we've got a public service announcement from Indy
Also, if
Red.
you are enjoying the live
Watch out
stream,
for our
please
attacks.
look at this QR code and consider supporting Indy Red. All of your donations go towards helping secure practice fields, home game fields, live stream by Spin Ultimate, and also travel for the players, as well as uniforms. Everything you provide is very helpful, no matter how big or small.
And I want to shout out my statistics team, Derek Rothison and Kyle Brunn, for correcting me. This is actually an offensive opportunity for the Monarchs, so they're going to look to secure that here. The Red are going to try to counter and bring this break home. Thank you again to those in the booth with Ariel, with Dog and I today. Play resumes. Disc in the hands of Brown. Swings to Duffy. Reels it in. Doesn't like the look to Pruka. It's rare today, though. Too far, though, for Shriver. The Red accomplished their goal. Matamore going to pick up. McClurkin in the backfield with her. This is sort of a hybrid line for the Red. Perhaps a lot of confidence in the fact that they're going to be able to earn the disc back. See a lot of the O-line stalwarts out there, plus Team St. Louis. Disc is reeled in. Kitten grips, rips. She has Hutchings. Duffy with plenty of time to catch up. Hutchings, two hands over a skying Eileen Duffy Duffner. And the Red bring in another goal. The assist from Lauren Kitten to Eliza Hutchings.
We've really seen Red come down with those 50-50 discs, really attacking in that space above their heads.
Lauren Kitten airing that disc out. A lot of time for the Monarchs to get up and set up a lot of defensive pressure there, but Hutchings can't be stopped today. Brings in what I believe is her fifth goal.
Yeah, Hutchings really patient in the end zone, even with that pressure from Duffy.
So about 3 minutes left in this quarter, and the Red are in cruise control. They've kept the intensity up so far, doing everything they need to do to make this game theirs. The Monarchs looking to just find some rhythm and perhaps end this game a little bit more on their own terms. As the pull goes up from the Red, Bannis pushing it about 55, 60 yards downfield. Disc in the middle of the field to Zhang for the Monarchs. Finds 22, Ballinger on the far side. Hildebrand dancing in the lane. Sticks with her, is rewarded. Hildebrand advances to Charlotte Pyre. Disc just a little too low. Charlotte can't bring it in with one hand. Garnier picks up, has Wyckoff downfield. Advances instead to Linnea Fraser. Doesn't like the swing to Wyckoff. Takes the drop back to Umeno instead. And just between the hands of Emily Garnier, Hildebrand picking up, restarting the action for the Monarchs. Rips it downfield. Number 99, Dana Demmert in the area, but Bannis gets in the inside lane. No one near her. Free to do as she wishes. Advances to Wyckoff. Frazier pushes upfield to Bannis. Bannis has Kirker. Kirker undercuts that lane beautifully against Zhang and finds herself into the end zone for her third goal of the day.
Bannis to Kirker for Indy Red. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22 points for Indy Red.
Once again, I would like to shout out our production team here, our PA announcer saying, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22 goals for your Indianapolis Red as they lead 22-6 with 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Dog, if you're the coaching staff for the Monarchs, what are you saying at this point? What are you asking for?
I think it's a very tough situation. I think we've seen the Monarchs offensively just getting into their own heads and just not making those connections, which I know we've talked about a bit. But I think really it's just let's shake it off, don't look at the scoreboard, and let's just play some Frisbee. Let's just have some fun. And that really just kickstarts some better movement with each other.
Is that our second Taylor Swift reference in about 2 minutes? Shake it off. Well played, dog. Well played. The Queen herself not making a trip to Indianapolis on this current tour. We could not be more disappointed. Red air the pull out. Fielded by Frank. Advances to Heilicker. They evaluate their options. Pushes upfield. Montenegro. Plenty of time. No one on her. The Red not even marking at this point. 7-on-6 downfield. Nice inside throw over to Frank. Advances to 42. Ashley Welsh, all alone on that sideline. I like this adjustment by the Red coaching staff and defense. It almost feels unfair at this point. It's a little disrespectful in a way that as a homer I love.
We see Melissa Gibbs really taking away that deep threat, which is why we didn't have a mark earlier in the point. Call resolved here.
It puts the pressure on the thrower to make things happen. J.J. Derrick pulls the disc out of the hands of Hutchings, and disc is too far. Little conservation of greatness, perhaps. On that look from Derrick to number 12, Sydney French. I do want to shout out J.J., though. Some of the best hands in the league. One of the few players able to come through contact like that and still secure a grab. Hernandez adjusts past Hannah Frank's defense. Schloniger outstretched hand around around the Monarchs defender. J.J. Derrick brings in the block, perhaps. Some conversation with Hutchings downfield.
Perhaps some contact there.
I'll call it on the field.
Schloniger, to correct myself earlier, Schloniger marked by Lena Montenegro. Conversation going to the observer. Once again, we would very much like to thank our observers for the day. John Keel, former coach of the Brebeuf High School Ultimate Team, and Luke Thomas, both huge presences in Indianapolis Ultimate Frisbee. The block will stand. Frank picks up. Big cut, big run from number 12, Sydney French. Ruled out of bounds, though, by the observer. And Alex Hu will pick up for the Indianapolis Red. Macadam Adamore and Anna McClurkin in the backfield with her. Hu a little late to find the look to McClurkin. Instead, hits the inside lane to Hutchings. High release over to McClurkin, but no one there. Plenty of time. 10 seconds left. The Red just need to play clean possession Frisbee, and they'll have the look at the end zone they want. Middle of the field to Hernandez. Over to Hutchings. Not in. We are at 0 seconds, so we are officially in just an end zone set for the Red. Matamore playing QB1. Finds Hutchings, who pushes upfield to Schloniger for her first goal of the day. Hutchings filling up the stat sheet. Schloniger starting to make an impact in the second half.
Red did a great job there being patient in the red zone while that clock was ticking down.
Blink 182 said no
We get
one
one
likes
more
you when you're
look.
23, but we like these 23 points.
Matamore pushes to
hometown Indy
Hutchings
Red.
and just an easy backhand to Schloniger. We'll be right back. Indy Red 23, Milwaukee Monarchs 6. For Ariel Dog Choi, I'm Charlie Lowe.
What are they, spaceships from Mars? No, they're frisbees. Watch it soar. It flies way around like a bird. You can even run for a pass. You can play all kinds of games. Isn't it amazing? Frisbee Flying Saucer. Yours at toy, drug, and department stores.
Welcome back to the beginning of the fourth quarter of this broadcast of the Premier Ultimate League game between the Indianapolis Red and the Milwaukee Monarchs. This broadcast brought to you courtesy of Spin Ultimate. Spin Ultimate, providing custom team uniforms and ultimate apparel since 2007. Visit Spin on the web at spinultimate.com. I have some of those old hypercolor Hydro-esque shorts that they did. Superheroes bidding all around it. They are some of my favorite to still wear and play in every now and then for a throwback. Cannot shout out Spin enough. Indianapolis Red enjoying a 17-point lead over the Milwaukee Monarchs. We were just talking in the booth, Dog, about how important that goal differential is for the Red. An 18-point loss to the Shadow and a 6-point loss to the Minnesota Strike.
Yes.
Well, we ate into 5 goals of that last week with our victory over the Atlanta Soul. 17 now. We are only a couple goals off the pace of being back to positive on the season.
Very
that
exciting.
has huge implications for us as we start looking towards championship weekend. The only thing standing between our Red and championship weekend being an unfortunate tie-breaking loss to the Strike. Doing the things they need to do, though.
Absolutely. It's been very calm and easygoing for them. I think they're all in their element right now, relaxed.
Yeah, a lot of very comfortable body language there on the line for the red. A little more tension on the line for the Monarchs as they look to put some momentum together, put some rhythm together ahead of their long drive to Columbus. They'll have plenty of time to make mental adjustments. It'll be about what they can do on the field in that game. Jarek looking like she's trying to hit the full 80 yards on some of these pulls. Disc is centered to who? Pruka, nice wide mark, forces a very outside throw to Milton. Milton advances. Schloniger really having an impact in this half, rewarded with the playing time, advances it to Hutchings. Disc too high for Dyer Cox. Swatted down by the Monarchs. Jarek picks up, playing QB1 now as she starts to take this game into her own hands. Tighter lines showing up for this Monarchs team. Jarek skies. Disc aired out. Thrower's going to throw. Number 2 in the neighborhood. Boxes out well. Dyer Cox rips it out of her hand. Little extracurricular bumping and grinding. Some conversation between the two players. As we await the resolution, I do want to throw out that J.J. Jarek, high school basketball player, knows the importance of making your free throws. And that background is, that so as we see some
There is some
pushing
contact.
off, definitely some locking of forearms there as those two players jockey for position. Disc is going to stay with Dyer Cox. Doesn't take the easy swing to Matamore. Takes the nice wide one. Alex Hu adjusts, brings that disc down. Marked by Jarek, advances to Kitten. Marked by SBS. Sydney French. Underthrown, Pruka brings it in. Marked by Milton, swings over to Frank. In the middle to Jarek, digs that out. Pushes up to French. Back to Jarek in the middle of the field. Disc too far for a bidding French. Disc right back to the red. You have to think that if they could just string some of these throws together, it would have made all of the difference in the world for
Absolutely.
them. They are getting the lanes they want, the looks that they want. Some of these discs are just a little yippy.
They're doing a great job at opening up all those options.
Alex Hu taking a turn at field marshal, swings over to Kitten. Really dangerous to have Kitten on that far break side where she has the whole of the field to uncork those big lefties. And Matamore, disc just past her outstretched hand, likely aware of the potential contact, opened up with number 2, Donna Johnston.
Seems to be a separate call on the field.
Johnson walking off a little gingerly. Looks like we're going to get an injury substitution. Hernandez coming on for the red. And number 42, Ashley Welsh, going out for the Monarchs. Let's hope Donna Johnson is okay. There's a long day of Frisbee left for these Monarchs players. Hannah Frank is going to pick the disc up. Yellow hat in action again. Advances to French. Looks for the big around. Good mark by Kitten to seal that off. Up to Jarek. Monarchs trapped on the sideline, but working the space regardless. Has Montenegro with plenty of room, all by herself. Finds Welsh. Disc too far. As Katie Dyer runs past and looks to start the counterattack with the red. Matamore picking up. Doesn't like the look to Schloniger. Unmarked. Frank settling down. Disc too high. Into the hands of Demert. Immediate throw to Jarek. All by her lonesome. Brings the goal in. Kick spike. No spin on it. She's hype. I'm hype. What an important goal for the Monarchs.
Yeah, great grind by this team here as that point is starting to kind of get a little long there.
Everyone matters. Every goal that you can put on the board makes you feel a little bit better about how the game is going. It keeps you locked in. It keeps your team focused. It keeps your team positive. And it gives the Monarchs a chance to trot out a D-line. Yes, Jarek just all by herself as she puts some distance between herself and Alex Hu. Gets that goal nice and easy.
Alex Hu and JJ Jarek also club teammates. It's a great matchup right there.
Yeah, you have to imagine that they're going to carry some of these some of these wins and losses into nemesis practice.
Yeah.
Monarchs having a deep conversation. We see a little groove in the middle of the huddle as Murphy goes to get a cheer up for them. Doesn't seem to be a full timeout, just making the use of those full 70 seconds. With 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, we are reminded that this is the odd quarter out. Once we are inside the last 2 minutes, all stoppages between points for drops, for turnovers, in and out of bounds, etc., do follow up with a clock stoppage. PUL sort of doing its best attempt at being the NBA and stopping for everything that they can.
Draw out those 2 minutes to the last an hour.
More importantly, doing their best to be the WNBA. Let's compare
There we go.
leagues. We all love the dub more anyway. Indiana Fever in action today, and the WNBA season kicks off later this week. Dallas Wings come into town to play the Fever. Cassie Brown, disc in hand, kicks action off on this point. Roller. Hit lands just inside of midfield. Gets an extra 15 yards out of that. Stopped by Kelly Kirker. Disc is picked up by Garnier. Moves to Bannis in the middle of the field. Finds Kirker. Tons of space right now being enjoyed. Timmons over to Bannis. Doesn't like the deep look. Pestered by Duffner and Cassie Brown. Duffner with a pick call. Looks like it's going against Kelly Kirker. Duffner arguing that the contact by Bannis should send Kirker way, way back.
A little confusing. Looked like Kirker had a few defenders on her.
One of those confusing points where you can't tell who is guarding who.
Right. There's not even a who on the field.
There's that owl again, dog.
Love to bring them in.
All right, space regained by Duffner. After some conversation with Kirker, Kirker rockets downfield. Duffner forced to give chase. And what an incredible effort from Eileen Duffy Duffner to save that possession for the Monarchs. Brown airs it out again. Pruka sprints. Not able to get their disc. Not ever coming back in. And Pruka looking at it like, if you just bent back a little bit, we might have had a chance.
If I was Cassie Brown, it's hard not to put it to a streaking Pruka.
That's a throw that everybody wants.
Absolutely.
Olin trapped on the sideline. Forced to push upfield in a tighter window to Garnier. Good mark by number 5, Rose Glinka. Disc is pushed to Bolte Baxter. Pestered by Caitlin Duffner. Doing a phenomenal job with her footwork of sealing down. Cassie Brown falling backwards. Sees the disc into her left hand. Action takes back off for the Monarchs, going left to right. Shriver with the disc. Swing to Duffy. Already with one big block on this point. Some of these undercuts are just not coming deep enough for the Monarchs. They're looking for them as the disc is aired out by Brown one more time. Looks like it's going to bend out of bounds. Shriver gets there. Stays in bounds. 5 yards outside of the end zone. The Monarchs can drop into an end zone set. Pruka with the disc. Brown walking upfield behind her. Rockets past Bannis. Pruka doesn't take the look. Instead, content to swing to Duffy. Looks off Rufus Duffner. Doesn't take the high release around. Drops back to Cohen. Duffy pushes upfield to Pruka. Hammer. Caitlin Duffner seals it. Brings it in.
Monarchs really depending on their handler movement there. Cutter's a little bit more stagnant, but Pruka making the big play for them.
Pruka to Caitlin Duffner for
And
Milwaukee
is that
Monarchs.
is that a break for the Monarchs?
It was?
I believe that is
I
a break
think
for the
so,
Milwaukee
yeah,
Monarchs.
2
They
in a
put
row
their
for them.
first chain of points together. We get the replay. Duffy advances to Pruka. Caitlin Duffner with all kinds of space in that back corner. Rewarded with the hammer.
Great find.
Don't forget to send your shout-outs, folks.
Monarchs have got to be
We've
amped
got a
now.
shout-out to Mary Timmons from Emily Armbruster. She said, make sure someone heckles Mary.
Monarchs
so
cut the deficit to
there you go.
15 with their first hold and break combination of this game, giving themselves that rhythm that they were looking for to carry into their game against Columbus later today. Red look unrattled down on that sideline. The usual suspects out there: Lauren Kitten, Alex Hu, Katie Dyer-Cox, Maya Hernandez, Gibbs, McClurkin. Body language looks good, feels good as they start moving left to right. McClurkin all alone in the middle of the field. Big over to Hernandez. Keeps it going to Hu. McClurkin into the middle of the field. Bidding Sydney French. Lauren Kitten rips, airs it out. A little bit of leftward edge on that disc. Does not matter. The adjustment from Hernandez is true. The red strike right back. Maya Hernandez in the end zone once again off a gorgeous huck from Lauren Kitten.
Normally you don't want that disc tailing that way, but that ended up being perfect for where Maya Hernandez was positioned.
And if I'm throwing to Maya Hernandez, I'm putting it up. I'm just going to air it out.
I agree. Put that anywhere near the end zone and you're good.
Maya Hernandez gets to enjoy, in the club season, throws from some of the best in the business. Emily Besser, Kat McGuire, Axel Agami Contreras. To get to play with Lauren Kitten in your professional time is just another joy for her. Bailey Besser, I apologize. And we see a lot of the same line trotted right back out. That might actually be the identical line. Point quick enough that the red coaching staff, as we see Jackie Lai trot off, happy to let that line of players run it back, as it were. Pull goes up from Matamore, easily clearing midfield. Goes about 65 yards. Hildebrand gets herself stopped, moves to Zhang in the middle. Disc is over to number 11, Rachel Lenzing. Swings to Zhang. Big upfield, way past SBS, Steph Bugash Skopolin. And the Red are going to start 5 yards outside of their own end zone. McClurkin looking to pick up. Upfield to Gibbs. Fakes off the initial look. Instead finds Dyer-Cox up the line. Pushes to Hutchings. She's got Milton downfield, but heavily marked by Lenzing. Disc in the middle. Doesn't like the backhand over to Matamore. Milton now with the disc on the far sideline. High and lowering throw to Dyer-Cox. McClurkin dancing in the lane. Shakes free of her defender. Swung over to Milton, who has to adjust to avoid a potential block from Lenzing. Dyer-Cox back in the middle of the field. Advances to Gibbs. Has Hutchings streaking. Finds her in the corner. That's a double hat trick for Eliza Hutchings. Sixth goal of the day.
And another St. Louis connection.
St. Louis putting on. Someone needs to get Nelly in the booth.
We're seeing Skittles kind of hanging in the handler space there, and it's working really well.
Touches for just about every player on that point for the Red.
We've been seeing a lot of cutter to cutter action here. Cutters are not afraid to put up those big throws, and it has really been paying off for the Red team.
We see Coach Vanderbush out there marshaling his D-line, hoping to continue putting this game away for our Indy Red. And the Monarchs able to put 2 on the board. The Red counter right back, pushing this lead back to 17 with 5:21 remaining. I think, though, that momentum building for the Monarchs, as a coach, you have to start finding those victories within a game that's just otherwise not going your way.
Yes.
Knowing, hey, we can go out and get a hold, and then follow it up with a break, knowing we can go get contributions from everyone on the roster, as we see a lot of these players, the top end start to assert themselves for Milwaukee as the bottom end grind out some tough possessions. Those are the wins you have to celebrate as you make adjustments for a second game.
Absolutely.
Brown pushes to Duffner. High release to Cohen. Had a quieter second half. Big swing around to Brown. Plenty of time to run it down. Advances to Pruka. Trapped on that sideline by Oland. Some conversation, though. Disc potentially out of bounds. Observer walking over to discuss it with Oland and Pruka. John Keel rules it in. Now some conversation about when the stall is going to come in. Cat back in. Pruka manipulates the mark to get herself some space. Pushes over to Rufus. Rufus back to Brown. Rufus rocketing around the middle of the field now. As we said, those great players are going to start to differentiate themselves, and Caitlin Duffner looking to take the game into her own hands. Up to Pruka. Rufus streaks past. Finds Shriver on the far side. Looks back to Pruka. Throw does not go off. Advances to Cohen, but disc just through her hands. Heavy pressure from the red as Oland picks up. Disc is thrown away. End zone positioning for the Monarchs. Duffy with the disc in her hand. Swings to Pruka. Has Cohen. Foster giving chase. Not able to make up the distance, and Cohen brings in another goal from a quiet second half to getting back on the score sheet. Emily Cohen finds her way into that front of the goal line.
Pruka, Rufus, and Cohen proving to be a strong team on that line there.
Yeah, tons of space for Pruka. Has plenty of time as Olin sets that force mark. Instead of dripping over to challenge that throw, Pruka has plenty of space to catch the disc and just find her receiver.
Yes. Austin Pruka really tallying up on the assists and goals here.
Yeah, 2 goals, 2 assists, 3 blocks for Pruka. She has balanced that out with 4 turnovers, but your high-touch players are going to do high-touch player things. And sometimes you have to take the turnovers with the other statistics. One of the questions, though, for this Monarchs team is going to be how they balance these heavier reps. As Charlotte Pyre rips an enormous backhand pull, how they're going to balance some of these looks for the higher points for their higher end for their top of the roster players, with needing to preserve legs. 3 hours in a car is not a relaxation of even 3 hours under a tree, between games in a tournament.
Right, and although it sounds like it could be a break and a chance to relax, it is pretty stressful on the body.
100%. McClurkin stopped inadvertently by Pyre. Off of 1 foot, throws the fadeaway up to Hutchings. Stands firm in her positioning, moves the mark just a little bit, up to Matamore, continues to Schloniger.
Red kind of shoving it up the sideline there, but it ended up working out for them.
2 goals on the day now for Emily Schloniger. And another assist for Makeda Matamore.
26-9, Indy Red leading.
Schloniger had some huge ups and a layout last home game. Red making it a little easier for her today.
Hutchings completing the spin move on her mark as she looks around. Gives her very, very smart play in that case. Gives herself a lot of room to, as she completes the circle, gives herself some room to, deliver a much easier pass to Matamore as the mark drops way back to stop that around throw.
Yeah, and a great job of keeping her awareness of where her teammates are while doing it. It's always difficult to do a full 360 and know where you have your next options.
Dog, it's one of those things they tell rookies not to do when the rookies are first learning how to throw and how to move a mark around. They tell you not to go full circle. It is something, though, I think that you see high-level players pursue as it's, much more calibrated. The difference between someone doing it because it looks cooler, they're scared, versus someone who's like, no, I can earn some space. Disc is centered to Eileen Duffner. Advances to Caitlin Duffner. Has Cohen coming in the middle of the field. Does not take that look, though, as Baumgartner gets in the way. Duffner throws it away. Umeno picks up immediately, airs it out. Mary Timmons respects herself, able to run it down for another red goal.
Great fast break. I was actually talking to Risa on the way to Indy yesterday, and she was just talking about how she usually doesn't take those big throws, but look at her here. Sees a streaking Mary and puts it up perfectly.
More like Red Timmons version.
Umeno with no hesitation. Just disc right in her hand. It doesn't even look like she's fully set up. That disc just leaves on that flick. If you've got a receiver who creates separations in the way that Mary Timmons does,
yes,
sometimes all you have to do is get it in the air.
Absolutely, and you've got when you see Mary Timmons, I mean, how can you not?
Oh, with the day that she's having, 1 assist, 4 goals, 2 blocks, she's really pushing Hutchings for that game disc.
Making great impact today. as the score goes up to 27 red and 9 for Monarchs.
Point back out here. 18 goals was the disparity between the Indianapolis Red and the DC Shadow earlier this year. If the Red can advance to even one more goal, they'll be back to an even 0 plus minus on the season, having huge implications for them for championship weekend as Kitten launches a pull, gets it comfortably across half field. The Monarchs begin their attack. 99, Dana Demert, disc in her hand. Up to 32, Michaela Heilecker. She goes back to Demert, looks for the give and go. Doesn't like the look to the cutter upfield, just playing catch with Demert in the back. Good adjustments by this Red backfield defense. Katie Dyer-Cox sets the mark on Demert. Upfield to SBS, heavily pressured by Schloniger.
Handler's doing the bulk of the work here.
Dana gives herself a second attempt. Advances to 11, Lenzing. Continuing upfield to 22, Alex Ballinger. Lenzing gets the disc back. Heavy defensive pressure from the Red stops that throw from growing off. Continued up line. Disc is dropped back to Demert. Heilecker with the disc once more. Mattimore on the mark. Inside lane to Ballinger. Does not hit the around to SBS. Pick on the field. Quickly resolved. Who re-engages play? Ballinger does not take the around. Eventually finding Heilecker. They step out. Deep inside lane throw and another goal for the Milwaukee Monarchs.
Great find for the Monarchs here. Great patience by the handlers as they bail each other out, and for the cutters for staying out of that space while the handlers can really work.
Monarchs crossing into double digits. 27-10. Heilecker taking their time, delivers a nice inside throw, putting the Monarchs back on the board.
Even with the heavy pressure from the Red Marks, we got some good breakside movement by the Monarchs as well.
That makes it 27-10.
Vanderbush getting a more defensively oriented O-line marshaled for the Red. The likes of Haley Bannis, Anastasia Foster, Kelly Kirker, Linnea Frazier out there, complemented by Emily Wyckoff, Risa Umeno, and Sydney Oland. A little D-line offense. Pull goes up to the Red. Oland picks up, swings to Umeno. Heavy pressure from the Monarchs, though, running down on that pull. Kirker up to Umeno. Continues to Wyckoff. Does not. Drops back to Umeno. There we go. They're playing tube now. Throw goes up from Wyckoff. Bounces off of Jacqueline Jarek. Jarek getting herself the ponytail block. That one's for the fans back home. Under a minute remaining in the game. Frank on the disc. Let's remind each other that this point is not played off. This is the one quarter in which we get to enjoy a buzzer beater. Montenegro stays patient, finds Zhang. Wind is picked up. Disc is continued up the field to number 2, Donna Johnston. Jarek over to 32, Heilecker. French with the disc in the middle of the field, heavily pressured by the mark of Oland. Dropped back to Heilecker. Bid from Montenegro. She's down and up as quick as you can. Clock will stop as Oland picks up and re-engages the offense. No upline to Umeno. Bannis with the disc, pressured by Frank. Finds the steady hands of Emily Wyckoff. Does not like the around to Umeno. Frazier, this just a little bit too quick through that outstretched left hand. Big mark. Jarek, you have 7 seconds left. Huge continue upfield. Turn. Potential call and conversation on the field. Looks like we had an injury. Timmons trotting on.
Clock ran out, but we might be adding a few seconds back here.
Disc coming back in with about 9 seconds remaining is where the clock will be pushed to. 4 seconds being put back on the clock. Observer Luke Johnson. And a timeout called. Thank you again to our observer crew, John Keel and Luke Johnson, for quickly calibrating where our clock should come back in. As the teams take a timeout, try to get one more look at the end zone.
Last 4 seconds of the game. Try to see if either team can make a play before the clock runs out.
As a reminder, fans, there will be a youth alternate clinic after the game with Indy Red players.
So we're going to get one more defensive stand from the Monarchs. And the last goal by the Monarchs to put them into double digits was number 11, Rachel Lenzing. Thank you to our production team working diligently to make sure that we could assign that player their due. So body language still looking generally positive for the Monarchs, and I think that's the most important thing here is that they will get an opportunity, spirits are going to stay high. They're going to carry that with them to a tough Columbus Pride game. As the wind swirls just a little bit here to end our game, just to add another layer of complication to this final possession. And the Monarchs are going to get one more look at the end zone with about 8 seconds left. Katie Dyer-Cox, Jalen Baumgartner, Melissa Gibbs in the back, way deep to stop anything from going off. No funny business from the Monarchs as far as the red are concerned. Cassie Brown and Hannah Frank in the backfield for the Monarchs. Jacqueline Jarek, Lena Montenegro. Notably, Austin Pruka, nowhere to be found downfield, but we do see Emily Cohen. Brown airs it out. It's not going to have the distance. Montenegro gets underneath it. And that is going to bring us to the end of action here today. Indianapolis Red secure the victory 27-10 over the Milwaukee Monarchs.
Wins 27-10.
Dog, it's a big win.
It's a great win, yeah. I know they didn't hit that 18 mark point differential, but this has got to feel good for the red team.
That's how you reclaim control of your season. You get back to going where you would like to go. We want to just take some time to thank our sponsors once again. Somerset Paving from Michigan. Somerset Paving is Detroit's expert in asphalt and concrete paving. Somerset Paving, take the right way to quality. Thank you as well to MDMI, one of our local sponsors. Materials Data Management has experience and drive necessary to help your organization deploy the best in engineering, materials, information management solutions. Check us out on LinkedIn for current job openings and our website, materialsdatamanagement.com, for a list of our services and software. Data importers, exporters, and consulting too. MDMI is here for you.
We'd also like to thank Everyone's Joy Photography out of Fort Wayne. Everyone's Joy Photography is Indy's sports team photographer and Indy Red's official photography company. Doesn't matter if you need sports or fashion, we got you covered at any event. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, or online at everyonejoyphotography.com. Discstore.com has the guaranteed low prices on everything. If you find a cheaper price, they'll beat it by 5%. Go to Discstore.com for the best prices on all of your ultimate needs, including discs, custom jerseys, apparel, and swag.
Thank you all again for joining this broadcast of the Premier Ultimate League between the Indianapolis Red and the Milwaukee Monarchs. For Ariel Dog Choi, I'm Charlie Lowe, and we're going to get out of here before the rain comes. Thank you so much for tuning in.